Here on Facebook Live, Hardcore Course in Miracles. Hardcore Course in Miracles. And we're going to be talking about what is your function? What is your function as a demonstrator of love? What is your function as a demonstrator of truth? What is your function as a teacher of love? What is your function as a teacher of peace? If you're going to demonstrate peace, if you're going to be somebody in the world that's bringing more peace and joy and happiness to yourself and everybody around you from a Course in Miracles perspective, how do you do that? Well, that is what we're going to be talking about. That is what we're going to be sharing tonight. The function of the demonstrator, not the talker, but the person that's actually demonstrating the truth. And that's what you need to do if you want to have the kind of happiness that you want to have. So we're going to start out with a little song that's called Teach Only Love, for That's What You Are by Brother John Christmas. And you can get this music at www.johnchristmas.com, and you can download it for free. And so I'd like for you to take a couple of minutes to just let yourself get centered and let yourself breathe. And we are going to jump into the Course in Miracles. Breathe, 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 breathe. Teach only love.
That is what you are,
Only love.
yes, that is what you are. Teach
Only love.
that is what you are.
Teach only love.
Everywhere you go, teach
Only love.
to everyone you know. Teach
Only love.
love is what you are. Hey, yeah, let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved.
You gotta recognize the problem if you want the problem solved.
Let me recognize the problem
So the problem can be solved.
teach only love. And teach every day, teach
Only love.
in your own special way, teach
Only love.
love is what you are.
So welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles with Earl Purdy. And we're going to be talking about what is your function? What is your function? How do you let yourself handle the people around you in a way that gives you peace and that gives you joy? How do you demonstrate the kind of peace that you want? Only love.
Well, that is what you are. Teach
Only love.
yeah, you're a shining star. Only love. That is what you are.
Let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Let me recognize the problem so the problem can be solved. Teach only love.
Teach every day, teach
Only love.
and teach every way, teach
Only love.
love is what you are.
Oh man, I tell you, I love it. I love it. Welcome to Hardcore Course in Miracles. This is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. And we're going to be on the function of the teacher of God, the function of the demonstrator of love. And we're going to be in the manual for teachers. The manual for teachers in the Course in Miracles. And we're going to be on page 19. Page 19 in the manual for teachers. The section is called the function of the teacher of God, which is the same as saying the function of the demonstrator of love. In other words, okay, if you decided you want to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, and you really want to be a demonstrator of peace and joy and happiness, if you want to make this real in your everyday life, then the Course in Miracles is saying exactly how you need to make that happen. In my 40 years plus of teaching and studying A Course in Miracles, I want to bring that into these sessions so that I can be helpful to those who really want to learn A Course in Miracles. And I'm so happy that you're here with me on Facebook Live. What I want you to remember is that you don't have to believe the ideas. The Course in Miracles says you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, and that you need not even welcome the ideas. That some of the ideas, that you might actively resist some of the ideas, and some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe, some of the ideas you might resist, some of the ideas you might not welcome, some of the ideas you might not accept, some of the ideas you might not believe. Let's get that clear, all right? Some of the ideas you're going to find hard to believe, and some of the ideas might startle you from A Course in Miracles. But do you know that the one thing that you are not asked to do is to judge and analyze the ideas? And why is it that you don't need to judge and analyze the ideas? You don't need to judge and analyze the ideas because if you use the ideas, you will see that the ideas are actually true, that the ideas actually work. So it's the use of the ideas that will show you that the ideas are true. So what is it that will show you that the ideas are true in A Course in Miracles? Using the ideas. Using the ideas. I am your divine repetition teacher. So the Course in Miracles says the best way to learn something is to have it repeated to you over and over and over and over again. And the other thing that the Course in Miracles teaches is that you have to remember the instructions, that you have to remember the truth. If you're going to use the truth, you have to remember the truth. If you're going to use the truth, you don't analyze the truth, you remember the truth. So in the Course, I'm going to do the Course in Miracles in plain language. So the function of the teacher of God. What is the function of the teacher of God? Well, the Course in Miracles says the teacher is a demonstrator. And the Course also says God is love. God is love. God is love. God is freedom. So what is your function as a teacher of God? Do you know that's the same as saying, what is your function as a demonstrator of love? And so I really like to make the Course in Miracles practical. Don't you think that if you can't apply this in your everyday life, what good is it? What good is the Course in Miracles or any teaching that you can't apply in your everyday life in the situations and circumstances that you think you are in, right? So the Course in Miracles is, I really focus in on how can we make this practical? How can we make this practical? So this is page 19 in the Manual for Teachers. And so when the Course in Miracles says, don't you know that when the Course in Miracles says, in that first sentence, it says, if the patient must change his mind in order to be healed, what does the teacher of God do? So if a person in your life is unhappy and they need to change their mind in order to be happy, then what do you do? What do you do? If your friend, relative, partner is unhappy, what do you do? Because the truth is that person has to change their own mind if they're going to be healed. So what do you do? Can you change that person's mind for them? That's interesting how the Course in Miracles says, can he change the patient's mind for him? Because from a Course in Miracles standpoint, we are all patients. I think that's funny. Certainly not. What? You cannot change another person's mind for them. You cannot change another person's mind for them. You cannot change another person's mind for them. So you need to get that. So a person would need to get that clear in the very beginning. I'm not going to be able to change this person's mind for them. So you got two choices if you're going to demonstrate love. If you're going to demonstrate love, you need to realize, first of all, you cannot change anybody else's mind for them. And then, so for those already willing to change their minds, if you're around somebody that's willing to change their mind, already willing to change their mind, well then the Course in Miracles says, for those already willing to change their minds, the teacher of God has no function except to rejoice with them. So when you're around people that are willing to change their mind, when you're around people who are working on themselves, when you're around people who have made the decision that they're going to move in the direction of love and they are going to move in the direction of truth, then you don't have any function except to rejoice with them. So if I am friends with you and you've decided to get on your spiritual path and you've decided to improve your life and you have decided to move toward love, then I don't have any function except to rejoice with you. My job is to be happy that you're willing to change your mind. My job is to be happy that and I already know that you're willing to change your mind, because if you weren't willing to change your mind, if you weren't willing to move toward happiness and peace, number one, you wouldn't even be listening to this presentation right now. So as far as my attitude toward you is that I'm willing to rejoice with you. So when you are around people and they are doing their own work and they are trying to better themselves and they are trying to wake up to the love of who they are, then you don't really have any function with that person other than to be happy for them, to rejoice with them. Because it says, for those already willing to change their minds, the teacher of God has no function except to rejoice with them, for they have become teachers of God with him. This is page 19 in the blue book, The Course in Miracles. We're in the Manual for Teachers, page 19, the function of the teachers of God. So the Course in Miracles, well, hold on just a second. I want to be able to see what you all are saying to me. So I'm going to get my phone so I can monitor what you're saying. So just breathe. I'll be right back. So what is it that you need to do? I'll say it again. If you know people in your life and those people in your life are really willing to change their mind and they're working on changing themselves, then your only job with them is to be happy for them, to rejoice with them. I'm happy with you. I'm rejoicing that you're willing to change your mind. So I'm going to give you the easy way. The Course in Miracles teaches the easy way for you to allow yourself to be happy. So when you're dealing with your friends, when you're dealing with your relatives, when you're dealing with the people around you, I'll say it again. If you're around anybody that's trying to self-improve, become more loving people, then the Course in Miracles says that for those already willing to change their minds, you don't have any function except to do what? Rejoice with them. Okay? So that person is also a teacher of God. That person is also a demonstrator of love. So why is it that the person is trying to improve themselves? Why is that person a teacher of God? Why are they a demonstrator of love? Because they are willing to change their mind. And then the next line goes, the teacher of God has, however, a more specific function for those who do not understand what happiness is, for those who do not understand what healing is, for those who don't understand what the truth is. So when you're around people who are miserable and unhappy, and they don't really understand what happiness and healing is, people who are unhappy and people who need healing, these individuals do not realize they've chosen sickness. The Course in Miracles calls sickness any form of lack of peace. So as far as the Course in Miracles is concerned, an unhappy person is sick. A person is full of lack and grievances and unhappiness is sick. It's not just a physical sickness. There's a mental sickness. There's an emotional sickness. So when you're around people, so in plain language, what is it saying? When you're around people that are unhappy, then you're going to have a more specific function. What's the first thing you need to realize? Well, the Course says these individuals do not realize they have chosen sickness. They have chosen unhappiness. What does that mean? Well, it means that most people who are unhappy don't know that they are the one that's making it, creating their unhappiness. Many people believe that their unhappiness is being created by outside circumstances and other people. A person who is asleep, a person who is sick is a person who does not recognize the truth that's a person who believes that they are a victim of whatever they're going through right now. So if there's anything that's happening in your life right now, or you know somebody who's unhappy, who's blaming everything and everybody outside of themselves for their unhappiness, then you are dealing with a person who does not realize they have chosen that unhappiness, that they have chosen that sickness. On the contrary, people who are unhappy, in most cases, they believe that sickness has chosen them. Most people believe that their unhappiness is something that just came to them, something that they had nothing to do with. And then the next line says, nor are they open-minded on this point. A lot of unhappy people believe that what's happening to them, they are a victim of it. They don't know that they are creating it through their own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. And they're not even open to the idea that they are the one making their own unhappiness. So do you know that that means that their body or their physical circumstances tells them what to do and they obey? They don't have any idea how insane it is to believe that everything that's happening to you is being caused by something other than you. The Course in Miracles says that when people are insane and they don't really know the truth, then they believe that they are the victim of everything that's happening to them. The body tells them what to do and they obey. Like even at a physical level, I could go, I have a headache, and I believe the headache happens to me. I don't believe I made the headache. So that's a form of my body telling me what to do and what to feel and what to think, and then I obey. But do you know that most people do not realize how insane it is to believe that they are not responsible for what they are experiencing? What's the difference between a person that's on the path of truth and knowledge and a regular person in the world? A regular person in the world that doesn't know the truth believes that they are victims of everything that happens to them and that they don't have anything to do with what's happening to them and that they didn't create what happens to them. So they're usually angry and upset most of the time because it looks like things are happening to them that they don't want and they don't like. The Course in Miracles would say that's a patient, that's a sick mind. And they don't even realize how insane it is to believe that you don't have the power to create your experience. If you even suspected that it's insane to believe that you are not powerful as a child of God, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You create through your thoughts and your beliefs. It's your thoughts and your beliefs that attract and manifest whatever it is that you are experiencing. But that's going to be a reflection of your conscious ideas and thoughts and beliefs and your subconscious, unconscious ideas and thoughts and beliefs. If you even suspected that you were the creator of your experience, if you really at a core level even suspected it, the Course in Miracles says you would be healed. So I will know when I have really started to accept the truth, because I will be happy. I will be healed. I will not have any fear, anger, guilt, or grievances. So if you still have any fear, if you still have any guilt, if you are still feeling grievances, then at some level you have not allowed yourself to be healed yet. If you even suspected that it's insane to believe that it's the outer that's controlling what's going on in your life, if you even suspected for real that you were the creator of your experience, then you would be healed. So one of the most important things as a Course in Miracles student that you have to do is be willing to get out of denial. I often tell people that denial is not a river in Egypt. Okay, denial, denying the truth. So this is the first paragraph. This is only the first paragraph on page 19 in the Manual for Teachers in the Course in Miracles. He says, but people who are unhappy, people who are not healed, people who are sick, it says they suspect nothing. To them, what's true? To those who are sick, those who believe that they are victims of their experience and that they're not the creator of their experience, They suspect nothing. To them, it says the separation is quite real. The only problem that we have is our sense of separation from our source. Every problem that you know that every problem that you think you have is coming from a sense of separation from God. Every problem that you think you have is coming from a sense of separation from God. Do you know that every problem at any level that you think you have, or any level that you think you have, is coming from a belief in separation, a belief that you're not connected to source, energy, source, God. I'll say it again. Whatever problem that you think you have right now, whatever you're going through right now, that's causing you any kind of unhappiness at any level, it is coming from a sense of separation from the Creator, a sense of separation from God, a sense of separation from your source. That is the cause of any form of sickness, any form of lack, any form of unhappiness. It's not coming from the physical outer thing you think it's coming from. It's not coming from that person that you think is not doing what you want them to do. If you are unhappy at any level, if you are sick, if you're unhappy, if you're experiencing lack or loneliness or grievances, where is it coming from? It's coming from your sense of separation from your source, your sense of separation from love. That's the cause of any and all problems at any level that we see anywhere in ourselves, in somebody else, or in the world. So who can tell me what the Course in Miracles says is the cause of any kind of sickness, the cause of any kind of pain? It's coming from believing you are separate and disconnected from your source. Your source is God, the Creator. You have heard that statement, I'm pretty sure. Haven't you heard the statement, God is love, God is love, God is love? So another name for the Creator is love. Love will heal everything. Love will heal any problem. Love will heal everything. So it's the sense of separation from God, the sense of separation from love that creates all unhappiness on every level within you and within anybody that you know. All right, so what did that paragraph say to us? What were the points? What was the instruction? What was the instruction? Well, if another person has to change their mind in order to be happy, what do you do? Well, first of all, the first thing you do is realize you can't change anybody. You can't change anybody else's mind. So you need to be clear about that. And for people who are willing to change their mind, then your function is to be happy for them, to rejoice with them. Because anybody that's willing to be loving is actually somebody that's helping. That's somebody that's a demonstrator of love. And do you know that a teacher of God is a demonstrator of love? So what do you do with the people around you who are angry and upset and full of grievances and blaming everything and everybody for everything that they're going through? Well, first of all, what did that first paragraph say? It said, well, when you're dealing with these people, you need to realize that they don't recognize the truth. They don't recognize that they are children of God who have an unlimited creative power just like their Creator has. These are people who don't realize that they're doing it to themselves. Just like Jesus said in the Bible, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. People who are cruel and mean and unhappy, they don't know what they're doing. They don't realize that they are the ones that's making that happen to themselves. They believe it's somebody else that's making it happen to themselves. And they're not even open-minded about that. So if you even begin to suspect that you are responsible for what you see and what you feel, then when you really start to get that at a deep, deep level, then you would be healed and they would be healed. But a person who's really unhappy, who's really sick, who really doesn't have peace, and they think that they are victims of their experience, that first paragraph says they suspect nothing. To them, that separation from their happiness, their separation from love, that separation from love, that separation from love is real. To them, that thing that they're going through is real. And the Course in Miracles says you don't tell them it's unreal. You don't tell them that their anger and their upset and their unhappiness is unreal. What you want to do is remember the truth about who they really are. And the truth is they are very powerful, and that they are creators, and that they could change their experience by changing their mind. Do you know that you're supposed to remember the truth for them? And we'll get into that in just a minute. But I want to make sure, I want to repeat, I would rather you remember one sentence from A Course in Miracles that you could use than to speed through a whole section, and then as soon as the class is over with, or as soon as you get through listening to this recording, then you forget everything that I said. And that's a temptation when you listen to classes and listen to teachers and listen to speakers, is that while you're doing it, you totally get it. But soon as you close the book or cut off the tape or whatever it is, then the temptation is to go back into the thinking that you've learned from the world, because you've been conditioned in that thinking. But I want to give you some tips about how to deal with the people around you. Like me personally, if I'm around somebody and they are happy, I don't mess with that. If they're happy and they're not attacking anybody and they're feeling good, I'm not going to tell them that what they believe is wrong or what they believe is something that they shouldn't be doing. If it's peaceful and they're not attacking anyone and they are feeling and they're believing something that brings them joy, then that means that they are going to be demonstrators of joy. It's happy people that demonstrate happiness. It's not unhappy people that demonstrate happiness. It's happy people that demonstrate happiness. So if somebody's happy, I ain't messing with them. I'm going to let those jokers, I'm going to rejoice with them. I'm not going to say, well, I know you're happy, but what you believe is wrong, and I need to get you straight about what you believe so you'll be happy for the right reasons. Nope. That is BS. If you're happy and you're around me and you're not attacking anyone, and your happiness has nothing to do with attack and pain and hurting people, then you are demonstrating love. Then you're demonstrating happiness. And when I'm around my friends and relatives that are unhappy, and they don't want to hear anything about how they are responsible for that, then I need to do what the Course in Miracles is going to tell us to do in this section. So let's look at paragraph 2. Okay, so to people that don't realize that they're the creators of their experience, to that person that doesn't know that they're not a victim of their experience, to them God's teachers come. So why do you come to the people who are unhappy and don't know that they are not victims? Well, the Course in Miracles says to them God's teachers come to demonstrate another choice which they have forgotten, right? If I'm miserable and I think I'm a victim, then I forgot the other choice, which is that I am responsible and I'm the creator of my own experience. I've forgotten that. So when you are around people who have forgotten that they are the creators of their experience, your simple presence, the simple presence of a teacher of God, is a reminder. What? Your thoughts, let's first, let me just read through it, and then you'll see, then I'll come back, okay? The simple presence of a teacher of God is a reminder. The teacher of God's thoughts asks for the right to question what the individual has accepted as true. As God's messengers, you, as God's teacher, you are a symbol of salvation. That means you are a symbol of peace. So when you are around a person who doesn't know the truth, you are to ask the individual for forgiveness of God's child in its own name and our alternative. So what does that mean? You stand for the alternative. If the person believes that they're a victim and they're totally unhappy, and I'm there, then I'm to stand for the alternative. They think they're a victim. I'll remember that they're not a victim. I will remember that they are powerful. I will remember that that person is a creator. So when I'm around somebody that's unhappy and they believe that they are a victim of whatever it is they are unhappy about, I want my presence to be a reminder. So how would my presence be a reminder? Well, I would stand for the alternative. So what does that mean? With God's word in my mind, with the Course in Miracles in my mind, with the truth in my mind, with love in my mind, I come in benediction. So to come in benediction means I'm coming into your experience in peace. You're unhappy. You're in conflict. I'm going to be the alternative. I'm going to come into your presence, and I'm going to come in benediction. It says right here, with God's word in their minds, they come in benediction, not to heal the so-called sick. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to heal you. I'm here to remind you of the remedy that God has already given you. I'm here to remind you of the remedy that love has already given you. I'm here to remind you of the remedy that truth has already given you. I'm here to remind you of the truth that God has already given you. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to correct you. I am here to remind you. But to remind you doesn't mean that I'm going to remind you necessarily with words. When it says that you are in the presence of that person that's upset, to remind them, it doesn't mean that you necessarily say something that they are going to immediately get upset and feel defensive about. I mean, if I feel like I'm a victim and the world is treating me wrong and I'm mad at somebody and I think they've done something to me and I've forgotten the truth that I'm not a victim, that I actually am creating that myself through my own habits and patterns and thoughts, I'm already have a sick mind. I'm in a mind that does not realize that I'm the creator. So the last thing I need is somebody to try to tell me, well, you know you created that. Don't you dare say that to a person. You know you created that. Why did you create that? That is just going to make the person more upset probably than they already are. That's you just wanting to attack for yourself, because they might turn around and cuss your butt out. So, no, you're there to remind them of the remedy that God has already given them. But because the Course already says, let me see what in that paragraph, he says, your thoughts ask for the right to question that person. You're there to be the symbol of love. You're there to stand for the alternative. It says with God's word in your mind. So I'm thinking the truth. That person may be depressed and upset. I'm thinking the truth. I'm thinking that they are powerful. I am thinking they are not a victim. I am remembering that they're the holy child of God. They have temporarily forgot that. Because if they knew, don't you know that if they knew they were powerful and innocent and loved, that they wouldn't be unhappy in the first place. So you're there to remind them of the remedy that God has already given them. And then the next line says, it's not their hands that heal. So it's not going to be your hands that heal. You're merely going to give what has been given you. Okay, so what do? Well, it says it in the very next sentence. Very gently, they called to their brothers to turn away from death. Behold, you child of God, what life can offer you. Would you choose sickness in place of what life and love could offer you? Okay, so let's make that practical. All right, I'm around the person that's upset. Then I need to remember that I'm coming in benediction. I'm coming with God's word or the truth or love in my mind. That my presence is a reminder of the truth, because I'm not reminding them that they are a victim. I'm reminding them through my thinking that they are indeed very powerful and responsible for what they are experiencing. So in my mind, I'm going to call to that person. And I'm going to say to that person, in my mind, I'm going to say to that person, turn away from death. Turn away from this unhappiness. Turn away from this sickness. Turn away from this lack. Turn away from this loneliness. Turn away from this fear. Whatever it is that's bothering them, I'm going to think in my mind, I'm going to call them to turn away from that. And in my own words, I'm going to say, I want you to behold, you child of God, what life and love and truth can offer you. That I know you're unhappy, I know you feel sick, I know you feel mad, but that doesn't change the fact that you're not thinking about what life could give you right now, what love could give you right now, what truth could give you right now. And so you ask in your mind, you ask, would you choose sickness in place of this? Would you choose sickness in place of health? Would you choose jealousy in place of peace? Would you choose lack in place of abundance? You can just fill in the blanks. Would you choose sickness in place of this? I want you to, in my mind, I'm saying, you know what, child of God, I want you to see what life and love could offer you. Would you choose this unhappiness that you're going through in place of what life and love and God could offer you? Now remember, this is all going on in my mind. This is the way that I'm thinking around my friends and my relatives. Notice I didn't verbally say anything. Why is it that it's not necessary for me to verbally say anything? Because our minds are joined. Our minds are joined. Your mind is joined with the mind of everyone. Our egos, our sense of being separate, that part of us is not joined. The part of you that thinks you're a separate human being, that part of you is called the ego. The part of me that thinks I'm a separate human being is also what the Course calls the ego. That part of us is not really joined, because our ego is just our concepts of who we are. And our concepts of who we are, that always changes. Who you think you are now, be honest with yourself. Who you think you are today, did you think you were that 10 years ago or even last week? Well, that's the ego. The ego is the constantly changing interpretations of yourself that you always have. Your ego is not real. Your ego is just an idea of yourself that you have today, and then another idea of yourself that you think you are next week, and then another idea of yourself that you think you are 6 months from now. That's the ego. That's not real. That part of us is not joined. But our real self, our true self, our divine selves, our minds are joined. So anything that goes into my mind goes into your mind, and anything that goes into your mind goes into my one mind. It's like pouring water into a pot. Anywhere you pour the water in, it enters all the water in the entire pot. So whenever you focus in on the truth, you're adding love to everyone's mind. Like we are doing this right now, but it's actually going into everyone's mind, even if they don't realize it. Even if they don't realize it. So let's get clear. If you're around somebody and they're miserable and unhappy or sick, and they are blaming everything outside of themselves for it, and you know that they're blaming someone else if they're angry, because anger is always a result of projection. So whenever someone is feeling anger, they don't realize that they're the ones that's creating the anger, really, and that they can really choose for peace. So when you're in that person's presence, do you know that your job is to remember the truth for them, and don't try to look at yourself as the fixer and the healer. If there's really something for you to say or do, Spirit will let you know. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles says when you're around somebody, you should be asking the Holy Spirit, what do you want me to say? You should be asking Spirit, what do you want me to say? And you will know, because it would be something that you would feel complete peace about. And so it's very important for you to think, I want you to behold, you child of God, what life can offer you. Would you choose sickness in place of this? Would you choose unhappiness in place of this? Okay, let me take a minute here and look at your comments. So, because I'm trying to make the Course in Miracles practical. It doesn't make any sense to study this stuff and you can't take it with you tomorrow in everything that you're doing. To me, then all we're doing is some form of mental masturbation. We're just trying to make ourselves feel good, but we're really not making it practical. I don't know about you, but I need to make this stuff practical. So let's look at the next paragraph. Paragraph 3. Okay, so I'm in the presence of someone who's sick or unhappy in some way. So what is it that I am not to do? Well, the Course in Miracles says, not once do the advanced teachers of God consider the forms of sickness in which their brother believes. So I'm not concerned about what it is you're unhappy about. I'm not to consider the form of your unhappiness, whether it's about you're unhappy about your financial situation, or you're unhappy about your relationship situation, or you're unhappy about your job situation, or you're unhappy about whatever the thing is that the person is unhappy about, then that's not what I should be focusing my attention on. So I'm not going to consider the fact that you're upset because your boyfriend didn't call you last night. That's the form of your sickness. That's the form of your sense of separation. I'm not going to consider that. Because if I'm focusing on the form of the thing that you're upset about, then I'm forgetting a very important thing. And what is the very important thing that I'm forgetting about if I consider the thing you're upset about? I'm forgetting that all of the things that a person is upset about have the same purpose. And therefore, all the different things that a person would be unhappy about is not really different. Because it doesn't matter what a person is unhappy about. It doesn't matter what kind of sickness the person has. It doesn't matter what kind of lack they have. The Course in Miracles is saying it doesn't matter what the person is upset about. All of it still has the same purpose, to make you think you're separate from love, to make you think you're separate from God, to make you think that you're separate from your Creator. Because when you're feeling physically ill, it makes you feel separate from your health. It makes you feel separate from God. It makes you feel separate from peace. If you feel broke and you can't pay your bills, it makes you feel unhappy. It makes you feel separate from love. It makes you feel separate from God. It makes you feel separate from peace. If you're on a job that you don't like, it has the same purpose. It makes you feel separate from God. It makes you feel separate from love. It makes you feel separate from happiness. It makes you feel separate from peace. No matter what you're upset about, it always has the same purpose, to make you think you're separate from God, to make you think you're separate from love, to make you think that you're separate from peace. So as a conscious being, when I'm around somebody that's upset, it's not that I focus in on the thing that you got a toothache. I'm not going to focus in on the toothache. I'm going to focus in on the idea that you have a toothache, and that's making you think you're separate from your peace. That's making you think you're separate from your joy. That's making you think you're separate from God. So remember, anything with the same purpose is the same. If you and I have the purpose of peace and love, then you and I are the same. If you and I have the purpose of joy together, then you and I are the same. Whatever has the same purpose is the same. So what is it that you are supposed to do when you're around somebody that's sick or unhappy in some way? He says, well, what you do is, he says, the teacher of God seeks for God's voice in this brother who would so deceive himself as to believe God's child can suffer. Don't let the masculine terminology get in the way. That's just the form the Course is written in. What we want to focus on is, what is the point of what it's saying? I'm in the presence of a person who's very unhappy. I need to seek for God's voice in that person. I need to seek for love in that person. I need to seek for the truth in that person. Because a person who is suffering, a person who is unhappy in any way, that's a person who's deceiving themselves. Pain comes from deceiving yourself. Wherever you are experiencing pain, don't you know that means you're deceiving yourself? You're deceiving yourself wherever you are suffering. In whatever part of your life that you're suffering in, you're deceiving yourself. And you're fooling yourself. You're deceiving yourself about what's really going on. So the areas of your life that you're most unhappy in, those are the areas of your life that you're the most wrong-minded in. That's the area of your life that you're most deceived in. So if I'm in a situation and I'm feeling miserable, then I need to tell myself I am deceiving myself about something. There's something that I'm fooling myself about. I'm not telling myself the actual spiritual truth about this relationship. That's why I'm miserable in this relationship. It's because I'm not telling myself the truth. Wherever there is pain and suffering, there is deception. Wherever there is pain and suffering, there is deception. So I have to seek for the truth in the person that's deceiving themselves. I need to seek for God's voice in this person who would so deceive themselves. So what is the thing that the unhappy person is deceiving themselves about? Well, it's right there in the sentence. It says, they seek for God's voice in this brother who would so deceive himself as to believe that God's child can suffer. So the deception is that person is believing that they could be a true child of God, a true child of spirit, and be suffering. And so what do? Well, then he says, well, you remind that person that they didn't make themselves and must remain as God created them. You must recognize that the false ideas that they have about themselves can have no real effect on who they really are. You have to let the truth in your mind, the love in your mind, reach out to the truth in their mind. So I have to assume that everybody that's listening to me right now, and everybody that's watching this video, and everybody that's around me, the truth is in everyone. 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 Everyone knows the truth. There are just different degrees of the realization of the truth. But everyone has the truth inside of them. Though you know that everyone, the people you despise, actually still have truth inside of them. So you have to go, I'm going to let the truth and sanity and love in my mind reach out to the truth and sanity and love in that other person's mind who is unhappy and suffering in some way. I'm going to keep remembering the truth for you, that you are innocent, that you are not a victim, that you are one with God, that you are a powerful creator. I'm going to remember that even if when you are criticizing yourself, judging yourself, angry, suffering, in pain, feeling lack, feeling lonely, seeing yourself as a victim, my job is to keep remembering that God is in you, that the truth is in you. Why do I want to keep remembering the truth about you? He says it right here. So that illusions are not reinforced. You have all these false ideas. What is the false idea? Well, it told us the false idea is that a child of God, an unlimited spiritual being, which is what you are, could really actually suffer. Now, can you think you can suffer? Of course you can think you suffer. Can you think that you're going through loneliness or lack or sickness? Can it look like you're going through sickness and loneliness and lack? Of course it can. It looks like Bugs Bunny is real when you're watching a cartoon, but that doesn't make Bugs Bunny real. So yeah, it can look like and feel like you are suffering and unhappy, but my job is to remember that who you really are, your true divine identity, is invulnerable. That who you really are is a very powerful being who has forgotten that you are a very powerful being. And so you think that whatever you are going through is something that just happened to you, that you had nothing to do with. So my job is to not buy into the lie that you're telling yourself about you are not enough, or maybe you can't be loved, or you can't be happy, or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. So that way I'm not reinforcing the illusion, which is the false idea. I'm bringing your false ideas about yourself to the truth. I know you think you're not enough. I know you think you're unhappy. I know you think you're sick. I know you think that you're miserable. I'm going to bring those false ideas about who you really are. I'm going to bring them to the truth by remembering the truth about you, so that your illusions, your false ideas about yourself that's keeping you miserable, those ideas are dispelled. Not by the will of somebody else, but by the union of the one will with itself. So what is this saying? Earl Purdy, just bring it down, brother. It's saying, and this, right here in paragraph 3, it says, and this is the function of God's teachers. So what is the function of God's teachers? To see no will as separate from their own, nor theirs as separate from God. Okay, let's make that plain. Let's make that easy to understand, because it's really not hard to understand. First of all, there's just one will, which of course means one mind. One mind is the same as saying one will. So I'm uniting my mind with your mind. I'm uniting my will with your will. There's a part of you that loves you and that wants you to be happy and that wants you to remember the truth. There's a part of me that's full of love and truth and wants you to be happy too. So I want you to be happy. I want you to have peace. I'm going to join my mind with that part of you that wants to be happy and wants to have peace and wants to be healed. Because there is a part of you that does know how powerful you are, that does know that you are only loved, that does know that you only deserve happiness, no matter what you feel, no matter what you're going through. There's a part of you that knows you deserve to be happy. I'm going to believe that there's a part of you that's like that. And that part of me that wants only truth and love, and wants only truth and love and healing, I'm going to join with the part of you that also wants only truth and love and healing. So I'm not going to see your will as separate from my will. I know that your will for yourself when you're unhappy and sad or sick or in lack, I know that what you really want is to know the love and the abundance and the joy and the peace that's your divine right. I know that there's a part of you that's divine if there's a part of me that's divine. I know that there's a part of you that knows you create your reality and your perception of your reality, and that you can manifest the love and the joy that you want in your mind. I know that, but you've forgotten that. How do I know you've forgotten the truth? I know that you've forgotten the truth because you're sad and you're unhappy and you're angry and you're projecting and you feel sick and you feel miserable. That's a person who's not a sinner. That person is not a bad person in their core. That is a person who has simply forgotten who they really are. They have forgotten that they are loved, loving, and lovable. So what is your function as a teacher of God? What is your function as a demonstrator of love? To see no will as separate from your will. And also, don't see your will and the other person's will as separate from God's will. So what does the Course in Miracles say God's will is? God's will, according to A Course in Miracles, God's will for you is perfect happiness. I say it again. Your creators, what is your creator's will for you? Your creator wants you to be happy. Your creator wants you to know love. Your creator wants you to know freedom. Your creator wants you to know joy. Your creator wants you to know oneness and unity. Your creator wants you to know nothing but love. God is nothing but love. Not love and punishment, not love and fear, not love and attack. People who want to believe in a fearful attacking God, that's a person who believes they deserve to be punished. They're still carrying a lot of guilt from their own past, and they think that they deserve to be punished. So they come up with the idea of believing in a God that punishes because they feel like they deserve to be punished at some level and not loved and forgiven for their past. And you're not going to convince a person who believes that they deserve to be punished that there is a God that only loves. A person who wants to believe in a creator that only loves is a person who really, at some level, believes that they deserve to be loved and they deserve to be forgiven for the mistakes that they might have made in the past. So people choose a God that is a reflection of how they feel about themselves and what they think they deserve. And then the temptation is to turn around and then project all of that guilt onto everybody else and then think of how other people deserve to be punished because they think they deserve to be punished. But someone who is getting in touch with their true self and their true nature, even if they do feel anger and guilt and grievances and shame about something they think they did in the past, they are willing to study some material or get on a spiritual path that's teaching them that their creator is forgiving and that their creator is loving. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap in just a minute. I'm Earl Purdy. I'm a full-time teacher. I teach on a donation basis. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. That's P-U-R-D-Y. You can also use Venmo. You can also use the Cash App. You can also use PayPal. And you can also use Zelle. That all you need is my email address. My email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm available for one-on-one sessions. One-on-one sessions to help you get past any unhappiness or blocks or challenges that you may have right now through using the teachings, the new teachings that you're hearing and that you're learning, especially through A Course in Miracles. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. Go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. You can get more details about my sessions, and you can self-book a one-on-one session with me. And I have been doing these sessions for over 4 decades, okay? So you're not talking to somebody that hasn't been working with a whole lot of people for a long time. For those who are open-minded and open to it, I'm also able to use my knowledge of astrology and numerology if someone would like to have that type of session with me also. Just go to my website. On Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, I do another Facebook Live on A Course in Miracles, online and in person. If you're in the Denver, Colorado area at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, you can attend my presentation in person, and it's at 1555 Race Street, R-A-C-E, Race Street, in Denver, 1555 Race, at 1 o'clock. Mountain Standard Time, online and in person. Online, it's on the Earl Purdy page. That's on Sundays, okay? On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do Hardcore Course in Miracles, which is what you're watching and listening to right now. That's online only. 7 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. I upload all of my classes to YouTube also. So you can see hundreds of my classes on YouTube. Earl Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y. Okay? On YouTube, you can control the speed of the playback. You can get it to loop and repeat over and over again. You can even watch the class with closed captions. So you can just, don't even have to have the sound on. Because the key to all of this is hearing it over and over and over and over and over again. I'm here to be truly helpful, you all. I'm just here to represent Spirit that sent me, love that sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say. I don't have to worry about what to do because I know Spirit that sent me will direct me. I know that I will be healed as I let Spirit teach me to heal. And I want to be an instrument of love and an instrument of healing. Whether you believe me or not, that's okay with me. I know I'm sincere. I know that I mean what I'm saying. So the truth is, we need to do what? As part of a quick recap. What is it that we need to do? And watch this and listen to it at least 4 times. And I ask everybody, as much as I can, those of you who really see yourself as people who really want to support my teaching ministry and what I do, one of the ways that you could do that is to share my videos. Share my videos. Follow the videos. And share them. Doesn't take any time to share a video. It takes less than 30 seconds to share a video. We must get the word out. Our world is in a very intense, challenging call for love state right now. We can no longer just be criticized, just judging and criticizing what's going on and not really allowing ourselves to be part of the solution. And so the more that we let loving thoughts like what the Course in Miracles teaches to be out in the world, the better it is for us. So here's the quick recap. 2 minutes. Hang in there. Hang in there. So this is what I want you to do. This is what you do. This is what you do. So when you're around people who are already trying to improve themselves and they want to be happy and they're on a path that gives them happiness, don't try to change them or fix them. Just rejoice with them. Be happy. Be happy for them because they become a demonstrator of love with you. Do you understand? Take a breath. People who are unhappy, people who are unhappy, people who are unhappy, people who are unhappy, they've forgotten the truth. They've forgotten that they are spiritual beings who create their reality. And they think that what's happening to them, they are a victim of, and they didn't have anything to do with that. Okay? That's what they feel like. They don't understand what happiness is. They don't understand what healing is. They don't realize that they've chosen through their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs to attract and manifest what they're perceiving right now. And they may not even be open-minded on this. They may get upset with you and think you're crazy for even remotely saying that they somehow are not the victim of what's happened in their life. So that's why you show up. You show up as a reminder, but that doesn't mean you say physically anything to them unless you are led by Spirit to do so. And if you're led by Spirit to do so, you will feel total peace in what you share, and you will not be putting any type of fixing or guilt on them. And they will be responding in a way to let you know they're open and willing to hear what you got to say. But in most cases, if you just be a silent reminder by just being there and not thinking the way that they're thinking when they're unhappy, then you represent another choice that they've forgotten about. So in your mind, you want to ask that individual for forgiveness, which is correct perception. You want to stand for the alternative. You want to be there with them with the truth in your mind. But you're not going to try to fix them. You're not going to try to correct them. You're not going to be giving unsolicited advice. you might ask them if they would like another way to look at it. Because it's not going to be you that's the healer anyway. You are not the healer. God is the healer. God is the healer. And the only problem is us not feeling our connection with our source, our connection with God. So you are there to give the truth and the love that's been given to you. So in your mind, very gently you call to that person, and you're thinking in your mind, you're saying, I want you, you are a beautiful child of God. You are a beautiful child of love. I want you to turn away from death. I want you to turn away from guilt. I want you to turn away from anger. I want you to turn away from victim consciousness. And in your mind, you go, would you choose sickness in place of this? Would you choose unhappiness in place of happiness? Would you choose conflict in place of peace? Would you choose conflict instead of peace? Would you choose sickness instead of health? Would you choose loneliness instead of joining? You're doing it in your mind. You're doing it in your mind. You don't even think about the thing that they're upset about, because you know that whatever a person is upset about, all of it has the same purpose, to make you think and to make that person think they're separate from God, that they're separate from their happiness, that they're separate from joy, that they're separate from everybody around them. So what do? You remind that person that they didn't make themselves. They didn't make themselves. So they're still as God created them, and God created them as love. God created them as spirit. God created them as powerful. They're still that way, whether they know that or not. So by you remembering the truth, you let the truth in your mind reach out to the truth in their mind, so that their false ideas about themselves are not reinforced. So you are letting those false ideas be dispelled, and you're doing it not by thinking it's your separate mind that's going to influence their separate mind. You are realizing that you are uniting with the one will, the one mind that you all share. And so this is the function. This is your function as a demonstrator of God, to see no mind is separate from yours, and to not see our minds are separate from God's. So you need to hear that over and over again. I just told you how you can make correction a lot easier without people feeling angry and upset with you. And if there is something for you to say, you'll know it, but ask Spirit if there is something for you to say and what to say. This is your function as a demonstrator of love. This is your function as a teacher of God. And you have to hear this over and over again, because the world is not going to probably tell you. You're not going to turn on the 5:30 news and hear them saying what I just said to you. If you talk to your average friends or neighbors or relatives, they're probably not going to say what you heard the Course in Miracles say today. So that's why you have to be proactive. That's why you have to be proactive in letting yourself have the truth. That's why I teach it. Because every time I do one of these classes, I get a chance to be reminded. For 43 years, I have allowed myself to be reminded of what I need to learn by teaching it, by being a vehicle for it. It has to come through me. And whatever comes through me has an effect on me. The thoughts that come through me have an effect on me. The feelings that come through me have an effect on me. So if I let these thoughts of truth and love come through me, it has an effect on me. Because I'm just like you. I got that part of me that wants to kick my butt, that wants to make me feel like I'm not loved, or that I'm a body, or that I could be destroyed. There's a part of me that tries to make me think I'm separate from you and you are separate from me, and that I'm a victim of the things that I might go through in my life. So I need to remember this just as much as you need to remember it. The only difference is after 40 years, I'll go to it probably a lot faster than the average person would. But I have never used the ideas in the Course in Miracles and really applied them, and not experienced some form of peace and some form of relief. And I want to join with, and I want to be the teacher of, I want to be the student of people out there who really, really, really resonate with me. And the way that this comes through me, the Course in Miracles comes through me, is a way that works for them. Because that's the people who Spirit sends into your life. Spirit sends those people in your life who actually need you the way you are. They're not trying to change you constantly. There's no better sign that you're dealing with somebody that is asleep and that did not come to you from spirit than someone who's giving you unsolicited advice and constantly trying to fix you and change you and constantly telling you how you need to be different in order for them to be happy. You're a powerful being, and you are entitled to miracles. Mighty companion, may the course be with you. This is Earl Purdy, and I'm grateful to you and thankful for you for taking the time to join live and also to watch the replays. Mwah! May the course be with you.